Welcome, everyone. I am so excited and delighted that you are here with me today because today we get to understand what is involved in renewing your soul. So, welcome, everyone. I'm Dr. Marcia Martin, the Heart Healer, and I am just so honored to be able to share the journey of transformation with you. It is so important that we all understand that we are perfect as we are, but we are on a journey to completion. We are wanting to become as the divine already are. So don't worry that you don't have all the answers. Instead, open your heart and receive and get excited about getting the information that will help you transform your life. So, today, let's take a look at what is soul renewal, how you can achieve it, and who can help. I want you to remember that no matter what it is that you may be going through, there is an angelic helper. When I say angelic, I am including all of the ascended masters and the saints, all these beings of magnificence that have already done this journey and understand what it is like and what we may need in order to have our own journey become more transformative. So let's begin with what are we doing when we are trying to renew our souls? And let us understand that renewal does not mean you are broken or you are without any kind of purpose or any kind of value. You are worthy just as you are. However, you have the ability to become so much more for yourself and for the world in which we live in together. We are always here contributing to the world in a way that will serve all of us. So let's imagine that we live in a house, which is our physical body, but yet the house is just a container. And we are something that is so much more, because that is truly the right representation, the right way for you to think about yourself. Yes, you live in a physical body, but you are so much more because you're an energetic being that is unlimited in your ability to achieve and to become and to renew and to be more. So, if you may be feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, or you might have forgotten who you are, then it would be a good time to engage in spiritual house cleaning, cleaning out the physical body, not necessarily the actual physical structure. I'm not talking about doing a fast or moderating, m- uh, changing the way that you are interacting with your physical body. As always, the angels are going to tell you eat high quality food, drink plenty of water, get exercise, make sure you rest, and live a life that is filled with joy. But we are also subject to trauma in this world, and our physical bodies may be holding on to that. And this is when you know, or when you want to do that soul renewal, that spring house cleaning. It's time for rebirth. It's time to let go of those limiting beliefs and those negative thoughts, and even the way that it may have always been done in your family. You're so much more than the traditions that your family may honor that no longer serve you. There are some beautiful traditions that are truly honoring everything about you and your family and your belief system, and they are doing no harm. However, if you feel constricted by those beliefs, or you feel that you cannot be you because of those beliefs, then again, it may be time for you to step out of that cocoon and into the awareness of all that you are. So, your soul renewal is going to help you rise again. If you feel beaten down or overburdened, this will help. It will also help you resurrect the parts of yourself that you may feel that you have lost or that have become confused. It will help you restore your connection to the divine. It helps you remember who you are, all that you are, and all that you are capable of. It is so important for you to understand that the divine will never see you as less than. You may see yourself as less than. You may be overly critical about yourself, may feel that there are so many areas in which you need to improve, but the divine will always see you as magnificent. So you never need to fear approaching them for answers or for help. So let's think of this as spring cleaning for your soul to help you awaken from dormancy. Perhaps you've gone dormant during this whole pandemic and you really are having a tough time trying to come back to yourself and begin to really interact with the world again. It will also help you open to new possibilities and release everything that's no longer serving you. I know for myself on my own personal journey, there were so many ideas that I had interacted with throughout my lifetime that were no longer part of my core belief system that I just needed to release. There were so many ways that I thought I needed to behave that no longer really represented who I was, and they needed to just be let go. So don't be afraid to let go of everything that is no longer serving you so that you can truly be open to stepping into your fullness, who you came to be in this lifetime. Remember, you didn't come to be a copy of someone else. And I know in some families, there is the tradition that you follow in your parents' footsteps. If that speaks to your heart and it feels good, then do that. If you feel that you came with a different purpose and a different vision, then I would talk with your parents and just explain to them, this is something that I really want to do or need to do in order to feel fulfilled. And I am hopeful that your parents will see your brilliance and give you their blessing. However, even if they do not, I would still advocate for you to follow your soul and instead of that pattern that has been set down in your family. So you want to release yourself from everything and every belief that's no longer serving you. And when you do this spring house cleaning, it's going to prepare you. It's going to prepare you for the new, for this feeling of renewal and restoration that has been waiting to be part of you. So allow yourself to release the old, observe yourself, and just decide, gosh, what is it that I really love about me? And what is it that just feels worn out and needs to go? And then allow yourself to fill with divine love. So first, you make space. Then you take a look. Gosh, what have I done with this space? Does it feel really clear? Is there more? Have I really accessed all of the parts of me that I need to in order to be open to this next adventure that I'm going to be living? And then you allow the divine to fill you with their beautiful love and acceptance. And when it is divine love and acceptance, it is unconditional. So if you feel that you're being judged, I want you to really take a look at that, because it is not the divine judging you. It may be yourself or family or society judging you, but the divine do not judge. And then once we understand who it is that we want to be, and we've been able to let go of those parts of ourselves that just didn't grow in the way that we feel addresses all that we are now, you might want to call on some help. I always am a huge advocate of calling on the angels, the angelic realm, because they can see what you cannot. They can help you see who you are when you may be stuck in your belief that you're small or unworthy. So, the three helpers that I would call in to help you reinforce all that you are, hold on, they're not on this page. Archangel Shamuel, Archangel Haniel, and Archangel Jeremiel. Now, we'll talk about them next week. I'll help you really understand who they are, what they can do for you, and how you can call upon them. But I also want to remind you that one of the overarching energies, one of the most important energies in helping you upgrade your consciousness and fully align with the divine is, of course, the Christ consciousness. Jesus represents that Christ consciousness better than any of the other energies that I work with in the angelic realm. So, to me, you must also cultivate a relationship with the divine and then open your heart for Jesus to help you, understanding that that energy is the best bridge you are ever going to associate with. It will give you the most expanded awareness, but it will also be the most intimate connection that you could have with the divine. And when you are wanting to work with the divine, you don't want to have a big, broad, kind of relationship where you feel like a little tiny cog in a wheel. You want to be deeply personal. Now, if we have time, I'm going to tell you about the resurrection story that Jesus shared with me. But first, let's take a look at 10 affirmational statements that will help you get into the place where you truly can have this resurrection experience, this spring house cleaning for your soul, and receive that renewal and restoration that you are so desiring. But as always, when you use affirmations, you must understand that if you're just going to try to put those affirmations on top of the pain and trauma, the limiting beliefs and the negativity that are already stored there, you are really creating for yourself an uphill battle. It is really, really difficult to try to take negativity and trauma and memories of abuse or other times in which your life didn't feel good and just shove them into the corner and try to be focused on these new affirmational statements. That is why I'm going to encourage each one of you to go into the heart and do heart clearing and healing. Truly, when you clear your heart, it is a transformative experience. You begin understanding that all of this stuff that you were carrying around was just dead weight. It didn't represent you, and it was between you and your connection with the divine. So I'm going to encourage you that instead of just taking affirmations and sticking them on top of your dirty laundry, your past pain, your previous trauma, or your experiences of abuse, or even your belief that you are a failure. If you have any of that locked in your subconscious, it is being accessed through the heart, the energetic heart center. So I'm going to encourage you to go into the heart with the help of Jesus. The energetic Christ consciousness will lead you into that heart space without any kind of judgment or condemnation. Heal away the hurt that has become lodged there. And then you will realize that now you have the freedom to move forward. Now you have the freedom for those affirmations to really begin working, and those anything else that you may be interacting with. Let's say you are taking supplements or doing an exercise program, or you're uh, doing any kind of enrichment. Everything is going to be enhanced when you have provided your heart with the help that it needs in order to let go of all of this that's standing in the way and be uplifted, so that you are now in the place where the divine is. And then it will be easy for you to access their wisdom and for your affirmational statements to really make an impact on your life. Jesus tells us that we must plant our seeds in fertile soil, that sometimes you plant your seeds on rocks and the wind and rain comes and washes them away. Sometimes you plant your seeds on barren soil that is dry and dusty, and it's dried up before it ever gets a chance to sprout. But when you plant your seeds in the fertile soil of the heart that has been cleared and healed through the heart healing process, you give yourself the most opportunity to actually flourish from all of the work that you're doing. So I'm going to encourage you again and again and again, do heart healing. I welcome you to do it with me. I offer group coaching or one-on-one. My community is My Heart's Desire Spiritual Community. You'll find it on my website. It's mmhearthealer.com. It's there in the comments for you. Go ahead, get on our mailing list. You'll receive a free meditation, and reach out to me to learn more about heart healing and discover whether you feel this journey is right for you. It changed my life, and I know that if it's right for you, it will change your life as well. So, when we take a look at these statements, they're going to create for you a solid foundation. First, though, always before you use any kind of affirmational statements, you must clear away the old. You're just wasting your energy. And I know this from personal experience. Before I understood heart healing, I tried using affirmations, and it was just an uphill battle with very little accomplished. So, clear the space, be ready and willing to receive. See yourself as worthy. Very important. Keep affirming the new state. You cannot say an affirmation once and think, oh, okay, that's fixed. You must continue to affirm. Quickly shut down that old thought or thoughts of unworthiness if they should pop up. And remember to keep checking in with the heart so that you are keeping it clear of false beliefs and false teachings. An example of a false teaching would be, you're not worthy of receiving this information or the desires of your heart. In the eyes of the divine, all are worthy. Not all are willing to receive, but all are worthy. And then finally, you need to align with the divine daily. This means some sort of meditation, prayer, or commune practice where it is just you and the divine, and you actually spend time being a recipient. First, you align your energy with the divine, and then instead of listening to your own thoughts or letting your mind go in circles, you quiet the mind and you allow the divine and their presence to be all that you are interacting with. It doesn't have to be a long time. Begin with 5 minutes, but commit to doing it daily. And then, as you're able, extend your practice until you have 30 minutes. Sometimes it's 60 minutes. It's not necessarily the longer the better. It's more important that this is a daily practice that you are committed to. Some days you will be so deep in this space that you will not want to leave. Other days you will feel that you can barely get organized in that space, and that's okay. So, here are the 10 key factors that you need to really get deep down into your heart in order to renew and restore your soul. The first one, I accept myself as I am. This doesn't mean that you're stuck the way you are. This simply means that you are willing to say, I love myself just as I am. So I accept myself as I am. And for those of you who are either heading over to my spiritual community or are already there, you will have this in a video format for you with just the 10 affirmations so that you can refer to it over and over again. It's a little booklet that I created. So the next one, I love myself unconditionally. No exceptions. It is so very important that you don't put qualifiers on who you are or what you need to be in order to love and accept yourself. So I love myself unconditionally, no exceptions. I focus on all that I am. It is absolutely imperative that you get out of the habit of looking at what you are not and only see all that you are. When you allow yourself to focus on what you are and what you can do, you will automatically expand. When you force yourself, hi, love, my favorite person, how are you? When you force yourself to look at what you are not, you are automatically going to contract. Now, that may sound counterintuitive, but please trust me on this because I was one of the worst offenders. I used to criticize myself morning, noon, and night. Nothing that I did was ever good enough. It could be good, but it was never good enough. So, Mother God taught me this a long time ago, and I really had a very difficult time transitioning from what was wrong to what was right. But I finally decided that I was just going to trust her. And when I did, my life changed completely. So, as you focus on what's right, you're going to want to do even more that is right. You're going to work even harder at staying in alignment. You're going to be even more open to receiving their guidance. And that which is wrong will be less interesting to you. And the less that you focus on what's wrong, the less energy what's wrong is going to have, and the less ability it will have to stay active in your energetic field. So you don't need to focus on what's wrong in order to correct it. Instead, you can expand and become so much more when you just focus on all that you are and all that you already are doing. We are hardwired for growth. You will naturally want to expand, and you will find it so much easier to learn, to grow, and to be when you focus on what's right instead of being critical of what you were not able to accomplish. The fourth one is I let go of all that no longer serves me. If you are operating under an old behavior pattern and you've grown past that, I want you to give yourself permission to let it go. It's not serving you, it is not serving your highest good, and it will absolutely prevent you from growing more quickly, and it may even prevent you from growing at all. Let go of the box. If you are on a journey of awakening, then you are committed to seeing outside of the box, to living outside of the box. Don't try to stuff yourself back in that box by saying things to yourself like, well, I've always done it this way, so it must be the right way. Question everything until you feel that you have the way of operating that honors you best. Evan says, we could have started a club with the poop narrative, but glad we didn't. Yes, you know, it's so easy to get caught up, especially your family of origin may only know how to talk with you about what's wrong. That's okay. That's where they are. It's not okay for you. You may be even able to uplift them by bringing to mind all that's right. It's certainly not going to do any harm, and perhaps it will encourage them to let go of what's wrong and look at all there is to be grateful for and joyful about. I can't guarantee it because we have no control over another person. But gosh, if you walk into a room and you are sunshine, you sure aren't going to bring darkness, but you may be able to dispel some of the darkness that is already there. So let go of what's no longer serving you. And the fifth one, I release all judgment. If you are taking stock of who you are and saying things to yourself like, oh, I really hate that about myself. Oh, look at that. I can't believe I just did that. These are judgment calls. You may be assigning them to yourself. You may be assigning them to others. But you know what? There's no reason to judge. Just allow people to be where they are. Allow yourself to be where you are. And remember the very first one that is, I accept myself as I am. There is no reason to judge unless you are trying to do yourself harm. And there's no reason to do yourself harm because you are worthy. Sixth, I let go of all shame and blame about myself and others. If you live in this world, you may have been subject to an enormous amount of shame and blame. If you were, I am terribly sorry. That is not a loving, uplifting, and enriching atmosphere. However, you can do something about it. You can release yourself. You can refuse to participate from this moment forward. Just let go of everything that says you're bad, you did it wrong, you are something less valuable because of your belief or your actions or your choices. If they want to hold that belief, they are welcome to it. But we know that that is not an effective way to be. So simply let go of all shame and blame. And 7, I see myself as worthy. You are worthy. I don't care what you have said or done. We have all made mistakes and we will all continue to make mistakes. So instead of getting yourself all wrapped up again in that shame and blame, see yourself as worthy and allow yourself to get it wrong. It's okay to make a mistake. I would prefer you don't keep making the same mistake, because then you are locking yourself into a pattern that isn't honoring you. But give yourself permission to make a mistake so you can learn how you don't want to do something. You may have a beautiful serendipitous moment, and in making one mistake, you absolutely transport yourself into a better place that you would not have found without that mistake. So see yourself as worthy no matter where you are or what you are doing, and that will keep you open for guidance. Also, remember to stay present. And that's number 8. I stay present in this moment. And Evan is saying, we never did anything wrong or blamed ourselves as children exploring our world. We just found other ways to get things done. We should keep that way of thinking through our entire life. Yes. As a child, when you were playing outside or with your toys, loosely supervised, and I'm choosing that word for a reason, and I'll explain in a minute, but when you were left to your own devices, unless you were being reared in a home that was completely filled with shame and blame, you would have been just delighted by whatever it was that you were creating. You would have enjoyed seeing where your creation, your play, was going. Now, if you were being closely monitored by shaming, blaming caregivers, you may have been afraid to really express yourself as you were playing. So I hope that you had a lot of time when you were just allowed to spend time outdoors or time with your toys and time just being you. If you are a parent or a grandparent or a teacher, allow all of the children under your care to have time where you are observing so that they don't hurt themselves, but you are allowing them to explore. There are no rules that they need to follow. They don't have to play the game exactly the way you played it. They need to play the game in the way that feels good to them. And make believe is a powerful, powerful tool in order to maintain your connection to the divine and understand who you are as a person and who your purpose and what your purpose is here in this world. And every one of us is unique and has a purpose that is unique to us. Also, number 9, I open my heart to guidance. Not a surprise. I've spoken about guidance over and over and over again. Absolutely, and forevermore, you want to be guided. This was a place where I started getting myself confused because I thought guidance meant God just took over and shoved me out of the way. Guidance means we get to be aware of which way is for our highest good, but we still have free will and we can go any direction we choose. The last one, I celebrate every aspect of myself. I cannot encourage you enough to celebrate all that you are, even the parts that you look at and say, oh boy, that could use some work. Just celebrate it anyway. Hallelujah. I'm so glad that I found this part of me that is not as expanded as I would like it to be. And then you forget about that part and, oh, but look at this part. Look at all that I've done in order to expand in this area. Really get excited and delighted about that. And without judgment, you may find yourself going over to this other area where you are not as proficient and saying to yourself, I really feel like it's time to take a class on that. Or maybe I could explore this with a therapist or another kind of support group that would let me grow beyond this limitation. Celebrate it all and be open for all of it to expand. Now, we are running out of time, but I want to speak briefly about the 3 energetic helpers that are really fabulous at helping you go on this journey, this spring house cleaning, this opportunity to really renew and restore yourself. The first one is Archangel Samuel, and and his job is to help you love and accept yourself just as you are. One of the things that he did and is known for was to comfort Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. Now, those of you who've been with me for a while know I love Jesus because he was the greatest example of how we can get it right. But even Jesus went through moments where he was having a rough go, when he was suffering and when he needed help. So, if Jesus, who I consider to be one of the premier beings in terms of understanding the divine and living a divine life in a physical body, if Jesus needs comfort, then hey, I know I need it. And I am always willing to receive. And I want to encourage you to do so as well. It doesn't mean that you're less than, it means that you understand that there is help and you are ready to receive it. Archangel Haniel will help you change your heart and mind and help others change their heart and mind about you. She is associated with the moon, inner joy, and harmony. Now, let us remember that it's always more likely that you are going to change the way you present yourself than that someone else will change. We have no control over them, but we can make ourselves the best version of ourselves that we possibly can imagine. And that will automatically make people view us and respond to us differently and with greater affection. And the last one is Jeremiel. He'll help you replace fear with love. He brings hopeful messages and compassion. Now, next week, we're going to go in depth with these 3 angelic messengers so that you'll understand how you can work with them and who they are. We'll put a little flesh on their bones. But that's all I have time for today. But I always, always, always want to invite you to join my heart's desire. That's that spiritual community where you will get ongoing support, and you can join at the basic angel tier, and that will let you do a self-help healing journey. This means all of the tools and the techniques that the angels have taught me on an ongoing basis are in there for you to explore. Or if you really want to dive deep, then you join on the counseling tier, which will allow you to be part of group counseling. And then you're going to do that deep heart healing with myself and the entire angelic community. And this is where you're really going to see that transformation, because you will not be ruled by any of the pain or the trauma that you may have experienced in your past. You will truly be free to live a life that feels wonderful and is filled with joy. So that's all I've got for today. I am off to work with amazing people in my group and to help them heal their hearts. So until next time, I'm sending you all my love and lots of hugs and deep gratitude. Thanks again, everyone. See you next week.